Good morning, my name is Kirsty Dignam and I'm here to look at the weekly energies for today's Monday Musings. I've just suggested that my dog be good, which means he will now ask for attention. Do you know, there's something in that. He's currently scuffing up the sofa. There's something in that when we actually ask for something to be good, ourselves, the situation, please be better than what it is, or it does mean then that there are other aspects that are going to be called to our attention as a result. My eyes were just really drawn to a branch of a tree of a painting in front of me that just suddenly became very 3D. When we ask for something to be a certain way in comparison to what it is, what we're asking for actually is to branch out, to grow, to reach for higher potential. This week in particular, there's an awful lot of energy coming in, an awful lot of confusion, an awful lot of disillusion coming in, and it feels really, really, really important to acknowledge what it is we are reaching for and why we're reaching for it. Are we reaching for things to be good, to be a certain way? And if so, why? Why are we reaching for that? And without the judgment there or the expectation, but the curiosity. Yes, that's what I hear, the curiosity this week. So I really struggled this morning with the clocks going back a couple of days ago. I set my alarm for 6 like I do. And I got up, and because the clocks had gone back, 6 o'clock in the morning was very light actually, which kind of threw me off kilter because we're in October, going into November, we're getting to the end of the year, that darker times. And I guess I feel very comfortable with that, very comfortable with the going within. So this morning when I woke up and it was bright light outside, it didn't feel right for me. So I will go back to setting my alarm at a time when what I wake up to matches the season that I'm in, which feels vital this week, that we start to really look at where we are in our own cycle, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, where we actually are in our cycle, what it is we have gained this year, what it is we are going to take forward into the next year by recognizing what we have discovered. Where are we in our manifestation, in our life, in the journey of our life? You know, we could be midlife, we could be just starting out on a new venture. Really, really, where are we in our cycle? And waking up to that. That feels really, really important, to wake up to where we currently are. So for me this morning, my own physical cycle, the seasons outside, just the whole feeling that I was feeling was very to go within, very like a maturation occurring that can only come from this reflective energy that we are being given over the next few weeks. I have a good friend of mine that mentioned a couple of planets going into retrograde, which I can't remember right now, but I think it's Mars was one of them. But there's a lot going almost backwards to give us a chance to really go within, to recognize where we are in our own learning curve. That's what I hear, our own learning curve, our own hero's journey. So this morning, with that acknowledgement of waking up to a light that didn't feel matched where I was, it almost felt quite fake for me. The setting back the clocks, the adjusting a time that suited mankind, right? That, oh, okay, this is our calendar. And yet everywhere I looked around me didn't match up. So I found myself wanting to go back to an older energy, which feels key this week as well. I just had trouble with my microphone and my camera, and I had to swap them over. I had to swap over my view and the communication. They had to change places. To know that that is changeable. What we communicate and what we see is forever changeable. Okay, and to really make sure that we're aligned with that. But as I did, I ended up knocking the tarot cards off my desk. And it really felt time for a older language to come through. Now I know that we are in the time of our ancestors, you know, with Halloween and things like that today, and I know that the veil is thin, but it really, really, really feels like next year in particular is a great opportunity to bring forward a older wisdom, an older language now, that we are all ready to re-establish and understand. Now, that's not to say I will move on from the tarot cards as such, but the wisdom of the language that we are allowed to connect to, that we are facilitated, encouraged to connect to, the psychic energies, the seer-like visions, the wisdom of that actually comes from applying it to life. So again, it is going back to, you can read one thing, but what are you actually doing about it? And as we go into 2023, we are going to be given an opportunity to recognize where we are on our cycle by realizing the steps that we have put in place, so that we don't keep asking for them because they've occurred, but also then from that point gaining the confidence and the recognition of our own journey in order to move on with that into 2023. 2023 feels very much, we're in the Chariot year, that year in the Tower, and it feels very much that we look at how we cope with the changes that have occurred, but also how we connect individually and collectively to move everything forward. Perhaps not in ways that we had expected, but ultimately in the highest good. Okay, so is there anything else on that? A recap, I feel a recap is necessary on the information, but also a recap this week, an opportunity to really keep recapping. Okay, so looking at the fact that our communication and our vision are intertwined and that they may need to swap places. There may be times when we need to observe, and then there are other times when we need to communicate, and really, really acknowledging that observation itself is a form of communication. And that communication itself is also a way of achieving one's vision, but also maybe skewing others' visions this week, being very, very aware of that. I'm incredibly aware of an undercurrent, not sneaky energy. It's almost going to get completely missed. It's that undercurrent that things aren't quite as they seem. So really important this week to connect to where you are. What's real for you? Are you matching the energy of your current life? Are you in sync with your own season? Are you at the core of your truth and your values? And I really feel that quite heavy on my arm, almost like, you know, what does that actually feel like? The branch, yeah, the branching out, the reaching out. What is it we are reaching out for, and why, and from where? This week, is it from our own core values or from the value of others? And that really needs to be looked at, because it's kind of affecting the seasons that people are in regards to manifestation. You know, I see many trying to rush forward, or many that aren't not quite ready, but actually all the signs around them are there, and you know, you can feel that energy of it's time. So really looking at what we're branching out for, why we're branching out for it or not, as the case may be this week. It does feel important not to overcomplicate things. So finding three aspects this week: where you are in your own cycle, what you're communicating and how it's affecting your own vision, and what deeper wisdom are you trying to connect to by your actions. Okay, so with that in mind, I think my phone just said something. Hang on. my phone just picked up on my voice and wanted to talk, which is why it's really important sometimes to just watch, right? People do pick up on our own communication and then want to share theirs, and that can feel quite relevant this week as well. You know, maybe trying to seek advice and it not quite being there because other people are like, oh yes, and I'm going through this, and so again, bringing it back, having a chance to really reflect on our own innate answers, using that as an opportunity of people have their own things going on. And if you are unable to be heard or seen, coming back to the one person that needs to hear and see you, which is yourself first and foremost. And that's going to really help gain and trigger some confidence this week. Again, it's recognizing our own wisdom, which we can only do when we see where we truly are. Okay, so where are we? My eyes are being drawn to a full picture, and it's the stairs that are taking us into a deeper cave within the waters and emotions of life. That feels like that's where we are right now. Okay. And there's great victory available there. You know, this morning I went out on a walk with my dog, and just as I was leaving the house, straight above us, this huge bird flew over, and I recognised it was actually a heron, which is really symbolic of new potential and new beginnings. And that is there once we recognise where we are, because it feels like that's where the veil almost needs to be lifted. You know, we can talk about the veil between ourselves and our ancestors, but ultimately what they do is they help us to see our own veil as well, in regards to the gifts, the battles, the scars that we choose to carry forward for ourselves, those that have gone before and those to come. Okay. Reading into the weekly energy, please, and how to best navigate it. Okay, so we do have the star at the bottom of the pack. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Okay. So we have the star at the bottom of the pack here, but you can see that this creature is, this person is almost fighting, fighting for what it is they are after, and believing that it needs to be a fight. And I really felt that as I drew the cards for the energy this week. I could also feel a background message trying to come through from the ancestors, which I will pass on in a moment. But what I really felt was this battle for the vision, this battle for what it is we are trying to achieve. And that kind of feels like key, trying to achieve, as if it's something that we have to do. This vision is something that we have to do. And yes, ultimately, you know, if we want health, then we need to look after our health. If we want a well-paid job, then we need to get the skills in, and we need to do X, Y, and Z and go to the interviews and things like that. But remembering the vision is actually who we are. And I really feel that. I really feel that. The vision is actually who we are. What you're trying to achieve is actually who you are. Believing that you have to achieve it, that you have to go above and beyond to get who you are, is the battle this week. And really, really looking at that, really opening to why we may be fighting individually and collectively who we actually are. Who we actually are. And it does really come down to that confidence and that ability to open and receive our own worth this week mentally. It does feel like mentally. Okay, so for the Monday, on that note, we have the Eight of Swords. And what I see here is, you know, this character, the people that he once knew almost turning on him, or at least that's how he feels. The path he once knew, the journey he was once walking, almost turning on him. Now, you can't see who's holding the swords. The only person you can see holding a sword is himself. Okay, so really, really, really looking at, I wanted to say the Ace of Swords when I first pulled that card, really looking at our mindset today on the Monday, on the Halloween, really looking at what story are we connected to, what ancestor even, that's what I hear, what ancestor are we connected to, and what wisdom can they bring down for us to now align with. Really, really, really looking at the reflection of how we see our journey, of how we see our life, of how we see our vision. Again, it's that going back to fighting with ourselves over it. Oh, I want this, but I feel X, Y, and Z. I need to be this good person, or da 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 da, in order to get it. I'm going back to that original message with my dog, being good or not being good enough, or having to do certain things first. Or remember, our vision is us. From the moment we were born, we've been us. So we've always been good enough. Now, that's not to suggest that we sit back and we do nothing and we ignore the signs that say, you know, you might want to go here, or you might want to do this, and expect things to fall into our lap, because it's a co-creation, especially as we go into next year. But with that as our solid foundation, we're not fighting ourselves, and that is the battle, half the battle this week. So the other half. On the Tuesday, we have the Knight of Cups, and it is very much about trusting what is being offered to us on the Tuesday. And that is, at the moment, all I feel. That is the trust that is being offered, but also the trust that we need to open and receive on the Tuesday. And the celebration that can come from that. On the Wednesday, we have the Two of Pentacles, and even though these characters are sat down and relaxed and eating and achieving balance, we do have, I don't know if you can see it, no, you can't quite see it, smack bam in the middle at the top here is the can't see it, the radio rune or radio rune, and its path, its journey. So recognizing on the Wednesday that by achieving balance, nurturing our physical needs, you know, what I see is up, 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 walking rungs of ladders almost. But when we achieve that, we are still on the journey. We are on a vital part of the journey, because without food and sustenance, we cannot walk the path. Without putting in those small steps, nothing will actually change, and it's balance. So, okay, today I spent time doing this, tomorrow I need to focus on work, or I need to focus on the home, or really keeping that balance. Because on the Thursday, that's when the work starts to come in, and we're preparing. We're preparing here. We are getting ready for whatever is trying to come through on the Thursday, which is the Friday, sorry, which is actually an Ace of Pentacles. So with the balance on the Wednesday, the work can be done on the Thursday because we've put time aside for it. And on the Friday, we have that birth, that new physical beginning here. In regards to property, home, what we are creating. Feels very simple. You know, the beginning of the energy feels, beginning of the week feels a little bit muzzy in the head, but once we can really look at the reflection of our own view of our vision on the Tuesday, then trust what we receive and what we give. From that point onwards, it's very, very physical. You know, I actually made the mistake of saying it's a mental week this week, and it isn't. It's a very physical week this week, but the Monday today could impact the whole week, you know, and it does feel quite imperative to realize that our mindset really, really impacts the whole physical potential this week. So to keep that in mind and to trust and re-establish the relationship we have with our mind, because it is our mind that is the potential of the vision. It is our mind that first receives what it is we are trying to achieve. Okay, so yes, on the one hand, our mind can sabotage things, but it is about knowing what we're branching out for and why. Why would our mind do that? What is it we are trying to discover about ourselves? Do we trust ourselves? Do we believe in the vision? Do we think it's something outside of ourselves that we have to continue to search for? Where are we in that cycle? Really, really, really deep, deep, deep reflective work this week is going to have a wonderful impact physically. So then on the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we have the Six of Pentacles, another physical card here, and it's like we're ready. You know, one person has become ready, the next person is now ready. And it is about just ensuring all pieces are in place on the Saturday, okay? Just ensuring that everybody's pulling their weight. That's what I hear. Making sure everyone is pulling their weight on the Saturday, you know, because otherwise that's going to have a knock-on effect. Eventually people, situations are going to notice that things are out of balance again. And that's where we're going to get that mental energy coming through, that old mental energy about how visions need to be and how manifestation is and how certain situations are. And what's going on here on the Sunday is a real deeper reflection of our own sacred union to our masculine and our feminine, our relationships, ourself and source, ourself, and more importantly, the vision of it all. A reflection of how connected we are to ourself as the very vision we are trying to achieve. Wow. Okay, so the ancestors really want to say this week, we have the Nine of Cups. They are celebrating with us. They are every achievement, I really feel that. Every achievement we celebrate, they celebrate too. Every pain we feel, they feel too. They are with us every step of the way. Longing, cheering us forward, but also holding space as well. So today, connecting to them, celebrating with them, placing an empty space at your table for food, for them to come and dine with you, and asking them for help. Because every time you achieve something, you know, every time you become part of the vision that they have always seen that you were, the skies open with cheer, and they see themselves for who they've always been too. For they are your ancestors. They are you, one and the same. In the middle of that, we have the Ace of Cups, opening up and receiving their love, trusting the journey they have gifted us and the journey we will gift others, and our connection, the never-ending source of love that runs through us all, particularly this time of year. I know myself personally, this time of year can be quite difficult. My mother celebrated Halloween. She absolutely adored Halloween, and you know, because of the veil being thinner, or rather our awareness of the veil being thinner, that feels quite important, an important message as well. It doesn't take one time of the year to connect to our ancestors. The veil is as thin as we want it to be. The connection to them is as strong as we want it to be. And that feels really important message, that much as the celebrations are great, Halloween is great, you know, Day of the Dead, All Souls Day, these are all beautiful opportunities to heal and connect to our ancestral lineage, but so is every day, because what we are doing when we are becoming the vision is answering their prayers, but becoming the prayers also for the generations to come. So every moment is an opportunity to connect to this army. I can feel this army behind us all. You know, it's that saying, suddenly all my ancestors were behind me, and they really are, and they always have been. And, you know, over the next few days, we are really going to feel that. But it is trusting that that potential is always there, the very blood that runs through us. However, the other message that I'm really feeling is blood is the only cell, the red blood cell is the only cell that has no DNA within it. So remembering that when we say, oh, it's in my blood, in particular with the scars, the battles, the journey, on a DNA level, there's nothing in your blood, actually, because there's no DNA. So really taking that opportunity to recognize that they have gifted the blood, they have gifted the body. What we do with it is entirely up to us, and it's that union. Okay, so it is that is going to be the Three of Wands, the moving forward, and just anything that you now no longer want to take with you, give to them over the next few days. Ask for their help to help you move forward, so that you can sail further, reduce the distance of this great abyss between generations here, because there's such a beautiful older wisdom trying to come through. So let's recap. One sword card, which is why I said about the Ace of Swords. I actually firmly believe one sword card, and it is the Eight of Swords. I keep saying the Ace, but it is the Ace of Swords. How we see the world, the reflection of the Eight of Swords, causes that mental imprisonment, or can potentially this week cause that mental imprisonment. How we see the world, how we see ourselves, how we see our vision, our ancestors, our potential, our journey is really going to be that connection now that is going to move us forward. So if in doubt, question the doubt. If analysing, analyse the analysing. Match what it is you're getting this week. Question the questions. You know, it's not to say that they're not valid. It's not to say that they're not real. It's not to say that they're not part of the journey. Actually bringing them home, recognising they are part of the journey, and they have knowledge and wisdom there. So what is it? Because once we actually say, what is going on here? Why am I feeling this? Why am I sensing this? Why am I thinking this? What is behind this? That's when the wisdom to break free of the situation is going to come through. Okay. We then have two cup cards, and it's the Knight of Cups and it's the Two of Cups. Obviously the ancestors had a lot of cups in their message, but in our message for this week, two cup cards, Knight of Cups and Two of Cups. Trusting what is coming forward is about helping us to reconnect to our own sacred union here, our masculine, our feminine, spirit and physical, the seasons of life. Trusting that. Trusting our ability to hold space for that, and ensuring that those around us that are holding space can actually hold space. And in looking at what we're offering too, are we at that place of being able to offer that union? And if not, respecting that, because you know that is what we give out, to an extent we get back, okay, from the place we give it out from. So yes, from the place we give it out from. That's the key this week. Where are we giving it from? Where are we giving it from? Okay, so we then have 1, 2, 3, 4 pentacle cards. So the 4 of Pentacles, obviously that need to almost look at what it is we need to let go of this week. We have the 2 of Pentacles, the 8, the Ace, and the 6. There's a balance there, physically, emotionally, mentally, intellectually, required in order to rebuild a solid foundation here, in order to start again the work that needs to be done based on the stuff that's already been done. But we cannot do that unless we balance and acknowledge what it is that's behind us, okay? And not even in a, oh, I've done this, this and this, but what's behind us? What force is driving us this week? The ancestors, the energy, the potential, the journey that we have walked. Really, 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 if we're going to hold on to it, you know, if we're going to take it forward, really fine-tuning what it is we are going to take forward and whether or not it actually aligns with the vision, because it's having a monumental impact on the vision, a monumental impact. You know, if we continue to believe that life has to be a battle because we've really gained strength from that, that is, if that's what we're taking forward, that's going to affect the vision. The vision is going to be a battle. It's not to say it won't be achieved, but it will be achieved in the way that we communicate it will be achieved. You know, so really, really looking at that this week. Okay, so that's a really quick reading. It felt very, very beautiful, actually, the energy that is available. Okay, is there anything else? Well, obviously it's Halloween, so, you know, if there is anything else that you want to understand and know, communicate. It's like, we're here, guys. Just ask us, connect to us, celebrate with us, chat with us. Okay, so it's interesting because the card at the bottom of the pack, when I asked if there was anything else, was the Lovers. So it is about deciding whether there's anything else and what we actually want to know, and asking, just asking. Okay, so one card for the energy of the week. How beautiful. The 10 of Cups. Celebrate this life, this one glorious life that we have been gifted from our ancestors. Celebrate it. Do the best that we can with it for those to come, so that we can give them an opportunity to celebrate this life. And, you know, the card next to it, 7 of Cups. Celebrate the uncertainty. I mean, look at that. You know, normally the 7 of Cups is very much about uncertainty, but look at that. All these ancestors surrounding that newborn life. Gosh, I just need to put that one to one side and just hopefully see if you can get a clearer vision. Look at that imagery. All of them just waiting to hand down all these beautiful, beautiful gifts. And it feels quite important this week to get a clearer vision of what it is we are going to take forward. Okay, what it is we are going to celebrate. What gift right now can we humbly receive? And I just see a button run forward with. I'm going to include in the comments a meditation to the Valley of the Ancestors, the Village of the Ancestors, for this Halloween. Strongly, strongly, strongly recommend. I'm going to do it myself as well. Just connecting to our ancestors and deciding what gift it is we want to take forward now, being ourselves. Yeah, recognizing that the gift is actually ourselves and our own vision. 6 of Cups here. Take care. Have a... Yeah, there's one more. There is one more. Okay, it's back to the 9 of Cups and the 2 of Cups. Yeah, okay, so you couldn't have... Okay, right. Making that wish, asking for their help, celebrating that union between you and your ancestors, you and source, you and life itself, becoming the wish Take care. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. May you find the vision that you've always been and celebrate that this week. Take care.